Hey there, this is Dora from Write with Magic, and today I want to talk to you about how to use your intuition while you're writing. Now, I know that there's a lot of mystery about intuition and writing. How do you write from your intuition? And there are actually two schools of thought. Some people really believe in structure, where you have to create an outline and then just write from that outline. And then other people believe in their intuition, where they just begin writing completely intuitively. And I like to create a structure first and then use my intuition to enhance that structure. And so in this video, I'm going to give you some practical tips on being able to tap into your intuition while you're writing. So the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, what does your intuition sound like? What does it feel like? So I actually used intuition while I was writing very technical kinds of material. So intuition is not just for creative writing, it's for any kind of writing. So I started to become familiar with my intuition while writing when I was still in graduate school working on my doctoral dissertation in toxicology. It's hard to think of something more technical than that. But even with something that is so scientific, I accidentally stumbled upon how to use my intuition to enhance my writing. And what happened that it was that while I was writing my doctoral dissertation, there were some areas that I was just really confused about. Just nothing made any sense. And I intuitively went on a walk, get some fresh air. And while I was walking, I was able to get these intuitive insights that helped me to pull those pieces of my doctoral dissertation together. And so when I went back to my office and I put in those insights, I was like, wow, this actually makes sense now, but I would never have gotten it while I was staring at the computer. And so, what I've come to realize, and I've heard this from other people as well, is that your intuition is kind of like a soft voice, more like a whisper. And you get it when you're on a break. Most people get their intuition while they're in the shower. But if you don't want to take 35 showers a day, you can just go on some walks. And that has worked really well for me. Any kind of break, I don't even have to go outside, just clean up my apartment, whatever, anything that you can do to get away from your computer, it's going to give you a break and it's going to allow space for that intuitive insight to come in. So the first tip is just to start taking these breaks and to become familiar with what your intuition sounds like. The second tip is to recognize that your intuition will not make sense at first. And the reason is that it is outside of your logical mind. So a really good example of this happened to me while I was writing a chapter for my doctoral dissertation. And on that particular day, I wrote an entire chapter in one day, which is very unusual in the sciences. So I'd created all of these graphs and figures, and overall I had about 30 pages written in just one day. And even though I was saving it during the day, somehow at the end of the day, that file became corrupt. I couldn't save it. There was nothing I could do. It seemed like I had lost an entire chapter of my dissertation, and I was very close to the deadline, and I was incredibly frustrated. And the only thing that occurred to me was to go on a walk, because by that time I had recognized that every time I go on a walk, I get an intuitive insight. And so it didn't make any sense to go on a walk when I couldn't save a chapter of my dissertation, but I did it anyway. So I went on a walk, and during my walk, I had this intuitive insight to print that chapter. So I rushed back to my office, and that file was still on my screen. Lo and behold, I was able to print it. So I was able to print 30 pages, and then I scanned those pages in and converted them back to an electronic file. And that's how I was able to save that chapter of my doctoral dissertation. So the intuitive insight of going on a walk didn't make any sense, but in the end, I got the end result that I wanted. And finally, the other thing about intuition is that it gives you just in time information. So it's not going to predict the future in this context. It's more about giving you the information that you need in that very moment. So, for example, when I was getting stuck on certain parts of my dissertation and I went on walks, I got intuitive insights about what I needed that time. I didn't get any insights about what I would get a month from now, what I would need at that time. It was really just in time information. And if you're able to harness that just-in-time information, then you are going to be able to pull your writing together. So I really want you to think about using your intuition to pull different parts of your writing together. And I really like to think of it like a treasure hunt because it's very surprising. It's full of surprises of what you're going to find. And when I had these intuitive insights, I was able to come up with things that I would never have thought of before. And that's literally the definition of creativity, being able to connect things that had never been connected before. And that's why there's an advantage to using your intuition while writing rather than just creating an outline and writing what you're going to write anyway. So the intuition really helps you to enhance your creativity, and it's going to lead to much higher quality writing. And I also find that it enhances my enjoyment of writing. So I think that once you put these tips into practice, you're going to become familiar with your own intuition, what it sounds like. And in fact, I have created a really useful tool for you to help you to keep up your momentum. It is called a daily writing checklist, and you can download it at writewithmagic.com/checklist. And the reason that I created this checklist is that I know how hard it is to find time in your day to write. There are always other things that demand your attention, and writing just seems to go on the back burner. And I've shared this tool with many people already, and they have all told me that this tool helps them to create space and time in their lives to keep the momentum up with their writing. So you can download it at writewithmagic.com/checklist. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more bite-sized tips to help you to improve your writing.